Oh, no.
You had those?
Oh, yeah. That's when shit gets straightened out.
Does it really? Or
Hey, guys, we got to play harder. Guys, we got to get to the meetings 3 minutes before they start, not 30 seconds.
Like, oh, that sounds like a coach. Get out of here. Players only.
Oh, baby, I love those players-only meetings, man. Ooh, they're
a lot
special.
gets done, right?
Special, yeah. Do better. Yes, great.
And they go, you know what? I never thought of that.
I never thought about actually trying harder. I never thought about
Coach would never say that.
No, he hasn't been saying that already. What's up, man? Everything good?
Yeah, things are good.
Chris Sims, Ahmed Fareed, we're here. Episode 87, Chris Sims Unbuttoned. I still feel weird about, like, saying my name along with the podcast. I'm not comfortable with that. I feel like it's kind of narcissistic and egotistical.
No, you have to brand it.
Right?
You have to take control of it. Because if you don't, someone else will come out with a podcast named Unbuttoned.
Right.
And then it's like, who thought of it first?
Right. Not me, but somebody here in NBC.
Yeah, we did. A collective we.
A collective we is right. But hey, check it out. Please rate, review. I know we haven't got to ask me anything or taking questions from the fans. We really have to do that.
We
yeah,
have to do that.
It's on Pete. Producer Pete in the back. He's got to get on that shit.
We want to do it every day.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. He's like,
again.
okay, got it. I don't have enough on my plate. All right, we got deep dive film, okay? Of course, from last night's game. I mean, that was the game of the day, and of course, the shocker of the weekend, the fact that the Patriots got dominated by the Baltimore Ravens, and then the Seahawks Bucs won out for the second game
so
there.
50% of the vote went to Ravens Patriots.
Okay.
Of you guys.
I didn't know that.
And then it was like, 18% for Seahawks and Bucs, and the 17% was for
Vikings Chiefs, I
Yeah,
think. I
yep.
just edged it out, right? Yep. So we'll do that. We'll hit a little damn okay. We got a little gimme the headline buzzard beater edition.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as we'll do with every week,
Yeah.
we're going to get to every game.
We are going to get to every game.
That's my personal goal. I have one goal every week.
That's what a Monday pod should be for. We got to hit it all.
Every
Just for
game.
every team, every fan base, every person that wants to hear at least a little something about their team.
And you said you're going to go like lightning round through some of them. I hope that doesn't happen.
Well,
because
I
like
just would, I just would like to flirt with an hour-long podcast one time in my life.
I don't want to
And
do
my man John McDonald is trying to go to Monday Night Football tonight.
That's true.
It's the Giants, it's the Cowboys. He wants to get there early. He wants to get the party started. I know he does. He wants to double fist beers and do all of those things.
Because the game may be over by the second quarter.
And you said your neck's sore. Why is your neck sore?
I don't know. I've been sleeping weird on it. I got to do more stretches, so I think it's bad posture when I'm doing the podcast.
All right. Well, I got my theories, but I won't go there, okay?
We don't need to go there.
All right. Let's start. Let's get it going. Film deep dive number 1, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens taking on the Patriots. Want to play a little clip from Lamar here just to start it off.
Is there something specific that you felt you didn't have the team prepared for?
Well, it's obvious. I mean, did you see a game tonight?
I'm trying to win versus anybody I play. I don't really dwell on one player or, it's just this guy I want to beat. Like I said before, that's still the GOAT. Don't nothing change that. I'm happy to get the win, of course, especially at M&T Bank Stadium. So it's pretty cool, but I don't really care because it's to get Tom Brady. I just want to win.
Man, he says all the right things. First off, that first voice was Bill Belichick. That was not Lamar Jackson, which was a nice, snarky answer.
Caught me by surprise. Yeah. Did you watch the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. We just wanted to know if, what happened, please. Can you elaborate? But Lamar Jackson continues to say all the right things, and he does. He just wants to win. He doesn't give a damn if it's Tom Brady or Ahmed Fareed at quarterback. He wants to beat your ass. Other thing, like anybody out there who's not watching on YouTube or hasn't seen that video, Lamar Jackson's neck is getting bigger. I mean, it's going into Keo Spike's range here.
It's wider than his
head. Yeah. I mean, no wonder he can take on hits and deal it out like that. But I mean, that's an impressive neck. I mean, that is certainly the greatest neck out of the quarterbacks in football.
Of all time.
I mean,
maybe of all time.
You're really right. I would say all time.
Big Ben has a big neck, I feel like.
Yeah, but it's kind of mushy and just big, like Ben. It's not like that.
It's
that
not
thing
like
is
the
real.
muscular neck.
That thing is real.
It's a real neck.
I mean, that is truly unbelievable. It's like that's a real running back, linebacker neck. And then the other thing I just want to hit on before we get into the game.
Yep.
Like Chris Collinsworth last night was talking a little bit about Lamar Jackson, the towel grabbing behind him, right? And I think they thought like he was trying to dry his hands off. And then you could little bit tell some telltale signs. Most of the times when he grabbed his towel, it was a pass play. I don't think it was foolproof. But Now he'll be alerted to that because somebody on the Ravens will watch the game tape and that will go out. He'll grab the towel every play no matter what. But my biggest point was, and this is something I used to do, and I know a number of quarterbacks do, is, instead of licking your hands all the time, which can be like just gross and whatever, you wet the towel. And I think that's what he was doing. And I don't know that for sure, but you wet the towel.
You want moisture on your hands.
Just a little moisture, especially for a cool, dry night. Sometimes the football can be really slick that way, to where, instead of or licking your hands all the time just to get a little moisture, you do that so you can grip it just a little bit more and spin it a little bit better and have control. That was the big thing that I just wanted to explain that part of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's almost like tipping your pitches, too, if you do that every time it's a pass
I used to do it and be very conscious of, grabbing it every play. Make sure I grabbed it every play no matter what, because I didn't want anybody to get those
You were not
tips.
a hand licker?
No, I was early, and then...
You're a germ guy.
Well, I am a germ, but I wasn't a germ guy when I was playing. I don't know what got me into being the towel thing a little bit. I really don't know what it was.
Maybe because you thought about it?
Well, it could have been John Wade's really swampy ass as my center, where I was like, man, that doesn't smell right, and I'm licking it, so that's not good.
Why am I eating that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm eating it. But my immune system was probably really strong during that period of my life until I lost my spleen, like I said. All right, let's get started.
Deep dive.
Yeah.
Our first deep dive of the day. We got Ravens versus Patriots. The Ravens get the win, 37-20. So we'll start with the Ravens O versus the Patriots D here.
Yeah, let's do
I think
that.
a lot of people are curious about what is Bill Belichick going to do to stop Lamar Jackson. You figure there's a way.
Yes.
There's always a way.
There always
to
is.
stop the other team's best player. But maybe it's a little bit more difficult when that player is so dynamic like Lamar Jackson.
Well, it is. It's more he's dynamic. They pose some matchup problems regardless, even if he's at quarterback for the New England Patriots. So here's just two things, really base angles right off the bat. The Baltimore Ravens, they're one of the biggest teams in football, and especially their offensive line. I need to actually just pull it up so I can just read to people the size of this offensive line. All right, it is huge, and it's across the board huge. So whether you start with Yanda at right guard, okay, 6'3", 305, kind of the smaller one there, okay. Bozeman, 6'5", 317. He's the other guard. Okay, Skura is 6'3", 313. Okay, that's the center. Now, you get into Ronnie Stanley, 6'6", 315. You get into Orlando Brown. He is a giant of a man. Let me just make sure I got that. He's like 6'8", 345.
Wow.
So that just tells you that right away.
Yeah.
Okay, so right off the bat, they have that aspect to go with. Then, I would say, out of all the Patriots teams we've seen in the last 19 years that have been in the Super Bowl conversation, right, because it's been 19 years in a row, this is probably the year they have the least big guys on their defense. They have kind of gone the route, as we've talked about, lots of linebackers, lots of DBs, and they match up that way.
Which has been really successful for them.
Really
for the first
successful.
8 weeks of the season.
Every team's got their kryptonite in football. Every team does. It shows through every year. It's a matchup sport, matchup game. 1 week you can dominate a team. The next week you come back and you go, well, this team wasn't even as good as the team we just dominated. But they pose a different matchup problem that sometimes can expose one of your weaknesses. And that's where the Ravens first have the advantage. The Patriots usually, giant people across the board. But this year, they really only have 3 guys that are in the 300-pound conversation that they play on a regular basis. Lawrence Guy at 315. Okay, they got, I'm missing Darius Butler, okay, number 70. Or Adam Butler, excuse me, not Darius. Adam Butler at 6'5", 300. And Danny Shelton, who is enormous at, I just want to make sure I get it right, 6'2", 345, all right? Okay. They always believe in big people because they two-gap, right? They want to do two-gap. So that poses problems, let alone the next time Bill Belichick is going to have to change the approach. And I think the biggest thing, and I would like to say, is I don't think he's going to be able to two-gap as much next time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so two-gapping, right? So what they did a number of times is they two-gap because basically they'll ask their defensive linemen to hold up. We want you to hold up the offensive lineman. Don't penetrate. Don't go anywhere. Just stay head up with them. Lock your arms out. And then we want you to read the play, basically. And if the ball goes to your right, we want you to throw the guy off to the left and make the tackle to your right. Yep. If the ball goes the other way, the opposite. We'd like you to throw the guy to the right and make the tackle to the left.
Works in two ways, right? Because you can make the tackle yourself, or it holds up the offensive linemen so they can't move to a linebacker.
Exactly right. It gets them stuck. So it's hard to get to the second level and do those type of things. Well, it's a little different with the Baltimore Ravens, as you saw. They fake the speed sweeps. They got guys in motion. They're faking the ball up the middle, and then it's Lamar on the edge.
Yeah.
So a guy doing two gaps is like, oh, gosh, whoa, this gap, that gap, oh, God, I can't figure it out. And that's what they did a number of times. And on that, I'm going to go to my first jib segment.
Oh.
Yeah, because this is one thing that I saw in a flaw where Bill Belichick is going to have to fix this the next time around. You're asking a guy like Lawrence Guy, let's just say he's two gapping, right? Okay, so here he is. Let's say he's on the outside edge, or he's right head up with the offensive tackle. Okay, and or maybe he's even on the edge of the guard, in between the guard and the tackle, and he's going to then, maybe two gap. Well, let me just explain it and just stand up. So here we go. So he's going to stand up. So what they did a number of times is, like Lawrence Guy, here he is, said hut, and he comes up, and Ronnie Stanley just went right out and blocked the linebacker. Like, didn't even make contact with him, all right? Now, Lawrence Guy's sitting here like this. Okay, great, nobody's blocking me. This is amazing.
Sure.
But he doesn't commit himself, because that's what they tell him. Don't commit yourself, because then if you miss, there's a huge hole behind you. But now, on the flip side of that, there's Lamar Jackson. Okay, so here's Lawrence Guy. He's stuck. Nobody's blocking him. But here's Lamar Jackson on the other side of the ball. He's going like this. He gets the snap, and he goes like this, and he rides the running back in, and they're attacking Lawrence Guy. So here he is. Yeah, he's in a gap, but the gap's like 6 yards wide, all right? And he fakes to the running back up the middle, and he's going, oh, gosh, I got to stop the guy to my right, to that gap. And then by the time he realizes, oh, the running back doesn't have the ball, it's too late because Lamar Jackson's too fast. And
you don't need to block him.
You don't even need to block him.
Yeah.
And now some guys have gotten up to the second level, to your point, to stop some of the genius there as well. And that was one issue throughout the night. Just that alone was giving them issues to where I don't think they're going to be able to do that type of stuff going forward.
I've seen this before out in California with Greg Roman.
Yes.
And Colin Kaepernick.
Sure, you have.
They did it back with him. So he's done a really good job utilizing their strengths. And I think there's some teams that want to implement, you think that the quarterback's going to get hurt. You don't want to put the quarterback out. I mean, what did Lamar run? He ran 16 times.
No, he ran 16 times for 61 yards. But they were important runs. And they were big runs, right? Whether it was getting down to the 1 yard line or, setting up some good first down runs that, made it second and short, or it was a second down run that got a first down. It was the importance of the run and really his threat that led to Mark Ingram having 15 rushes for 115 yards, which you don't see very much in given up by the New England defense either.
Yeah, because the passing game, the numbers are not great. They don't jump off the page. 163 yards for Lamar, 1 touchdown through the air. The Ravens' second leading receiver was Mark Ingram with 2 catches and 29 yards. Hollywood Brown, 3 catches for 48 yards, although you do think that Hollywood Brown is a huge weapon for the Ravens.
He changes them. Yeah. I mean, you see what he does. He's the one guy in the pass game who can flip the field for them to take the pressure off to where it says, like, okay, it doesn't have to, even if it is an 11-play, 75-yard drive or anything like that, it doesn't have to be like, 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards. It can be 3 yards, 4 yards. Then, maybe we lost 2. But then, Hollywood's over the middle and gets a 25-yard gain, and we're back on track that way. He brings that element, let alone scaring the defense, as far as deep balls over the top. But the big thing is, Baltimore did some things to New England that usually New England does to other teams. Like New England, if they think like, oh wow, you got like 3 or 4 corners that are really paid a lot of money, they'll get in base offense to make sure, like, hey, there's your money, guys. They got to get off the field. You got 2 guys you paid a lot of money. They're not even on the field.
Sure.
Well, they did that a little bit. And I say they, as in the Baltimore Ravens, did that a little to New England. Because New England had to take their DBs off the field at times. They had to play 2 and 3 down linemen and the linebackers. Yeah. And now the DBs, it's only the 4 in, the 2 safeties and the 2 DBs, the 2 corners. And so they take away DeSean Jackson and some of their other guys who are so instrumental in what they do on that side of the ball.
You know what's funny is I was looking at the snap counts for both teams.
Right.
And I was looking at the Patriots wide receivers.
Yep.
They were on the field basically the whole game.
Yes.
Edelman played every snap. Sanu played every snap. Philip Dorsett missed 1 snap.
Right.
Over on the Ravens, It was the opposite.
Yep.
Willie Snead played the most snaps of any Ravens wide receiver, 60% of the snaps.
Wow.
That was it.
That was it. Because they're in so many 2 and 3 tight end sets. And then, okay, we'll get in 3 wide receiver sets here and there, whatever it may be. But, it limits the greatness of the Patriots defense, which is really going to translate to most teams in football, except for maybe the Ravens, who are going to go, we don't really care. We're not about passing the ball.
Yeah.
We play run first, and we make you adjust off of that. And it's part of, again, the matchup problems that Baltimore poses for New England in general.
This is once again, this is a Baltimore issue for the Patriots, not necessarily an issue moving forward, right? This is a unique way that the Baltimore
issue.
Ravens
I don't know of anybody. The only thing teams are going to be able to take away from this game is man, we can bring the fight to New England a little bit. They're not that big and physical up front to where we got to bring it to them. It's going to take just some of their shine and luster off, and teams are going to look at it and go, their front's not that great as far as stopping the run. Why don't we run the ball more?
Yeah.
We should do that. And that showed a great advantage.
Because you don't have 300-pound offensive linemen up and down the board here.
Exactly. In the old, really, like any other year except for this, New England had more than 3 or 4 of these 300-pounders. Yeah. And they would play the bare front, right? And they would let 3 big guys control the 2 guards in the center. And then they could do things off of that. Well, they're a little different this year with the way they're built, and they pose a problem. Another problem that got exposed with them a little bit is the weak side run game. Again, because they're smaller, right? New England in years past. So the strong side is where they had the extra help out too, right? They're worried about, oh man, the tight end's over here. Yeah. Man, we need to put the safety down here just to get an extra guy in the box to stop the run game. Well, Baltimore were getting those formations. You saw the few little option pitches. There was even a few weak side runs. Okay, so they're in a strong formation. The fullback set strong. The tight end's on the, let's say, the left side. And then they would motion the fullback weak. And what happened basically was, setting the edge, which is such a big thing in New England. Like they expect, and for all those out there, I'm going to stand up one more time here.
You're
I think
going
it's
double,
worthy.
You're
double for this. Yeah, this deserves it. Ravens.
Okay.
But they believe in setting the edge. In fact, I want you to get up this one, okay? You're getting up too.
Okay.
If you're an offensive tackle and we're going this way, right? You're going this way, I'm here. They are big in like set the edge. Like you got to funnel the run back inside, right? So if if Lamar Jackson comes outside, nope, I'm not going to let him come outside because I got all this help inside of me to make the tackle. So that's like truly you get your head chopped off in New England if you break that rule, if you don't set the edge. Well, what they did a few times during the game was, okay, the tight end's over there, so they wanted to put kind of the strength of their defense over there. Yep. Now, okay, he comes in, he sets the edge, okay, and then it's like a little fake up the middle or something like that. But now it's Lamar Jackson coming right at him, and Mark Ingram's over there to where he can pitch it like an option. So, okay, he's set the edge, but what do you want him to do? He's going, oh, gosh, Lamar's coming at me. And Lamar keeps attacking him, right. Yeah. And then he just pitches it off, and he's stuck in a spot. So those are little things that, like, you don't see New England get schematically messed with very often.
Right.
And if you watch the game last night, the first drive, Belichick, he was very calm. Like, you know how he writes, right? He was very calm. He was writing on his thing. The first drive, he was very calm, and he was like this. And, good. The second drive, when they went down again, and then the third drive, it was like, what the is going on? Like, me. Like, you could read his lips. That's what he was saying. Yeah. Because he knew, man, they're posing some problems for my defense schematically that I'm going to have to readjust as we go forward here, because if I keep doing what I'm doing, we're going to be in big, big trouble. And I just found that, that does, like I said, just does not happen very much, but they will learn from it. And if they play the second time around, it's going to be a great advantage for New England. It will, because they're going to be able to now adjust off of that.
How?
Well, they're going to have to figure out, maybe go to 4 down fronts and go we play one gap at a time, something like that.
Okay.
They might even have to do some unconventional blitzing that they don't like to do, just to like make chaos inside to where they can't get a body on a body all the time.
But this is why the mobile quarterback is so unique, and it's such a unique challenge, and why really, if you can have a quarterback that can do this, you would want it every time, because it's the extra player, right?
It's the extra player,
like
right?
You have an advantage almost being able to use the quarterback in this way.
You get the numbers advantage more times than not. So you're right, because instead of giving the ball to Mark Ingram, now Mark Ingram is blocking for you, and you have the advantage there.
Right.
The other thing that it did to them more than anything, and because of your point, what you're talking about, Lamar Jackson's running ability, you've heard me say before, like running quarterbacks simplify defenses. One of the greatest advantages in New England and why they're so good is Bill usually wins the schematical chess match between the two teams. And
you're giving the nod to Greg Roman?
Well, he couldn't do anything schematically crazy in the game to go, I'm going to really like ruin this aspect. He had to kind of play it like simple. Oh, we're playing man-to-man. Oh, we're playing 3 deep, because he's too worried about making the proper run fits and Lamar to go, I can't do this crazy coverage to double this guy in this situation, or I want to take away this one run and I'll run this defense, because if he guesses wrong, it could be Lamar, going 70 and high stepping. So there's that aspect, and it's the Cam Newton effect. It's why that's why Cam Newton has a winning record against the New England Patriots. For my recollection, he's 2-0. That's why when people talk about the running quarterback, and New England's had issues with that, New England's not known for like their great athleticism in their history for the front seven. It's they're big, they're sound, they don't mess up, right? Yeah. And then Bill does creative things in the back end to take away your top receiver or your best passing plays. Well, this is different with them. And that part of New England, which is their great advantage, which is the great mind of Bill Belichick, it kind of becomes a little bit of not a great advantage against a team like Baltimore, who just plays smash mouth.
Just really impressive for the Ravens offense. And you mentioned the offensive lineman and Marshall Yanda. One more shout out to him. The 35-year-old from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I feel like if you grow up in Cedar Rapids, you're like 10 times more likely to be an offensive lineman in the NFL than if you grew up anywhere else in the world.
Well, I can see that. And you're right. It's Iowa. I mean, I feel like the big people in the middle of the country in the South make up most of the NFL offensive linemen.
35. He missed some snaps week 1.
He's special.
He's played every snap since then.
He's always been special. He's a borderline Hall of Fame guard. Yeah. That's how good his career has been. But really, just an impressive, not very often where you see a team kind of physically dominate New England that way, and kind of also have the schematical, like whether it was a draw or an advantage. It usually never happens. Draws don't usually happen against New England. They usually win the schematics. But this time, the schematics were very even, and then it became down to the athletes. And Baltimore, and of course Lamar is such a great athlete, he made plays.
And the Patriots defense still very, very good.
Without a doubt.
Still very good. But probably has looked better than they are because of their schedule. I mean, it's reality.
Well, this is the first team they played that's complete.
Right, it's reality.
Yes, it's complete.
It's their schedule has not been that tough.
Oh, we knew they posed problems for them. I knew that all the way. I mean, I picked the Patriots to win 20-17. And I said to Annie, who was on the jib last night when we were doing our last social media thing, right? I said I would not be shocked if the Ravens won the football game. They pose problems for New England that way. But having to face them once, if they do face off in the playoffs a second time, that will be a big advantage for New England. And the next match will be if Baltimore can figure out what New England will do to adjust to be one step ahead is really going to be the big aspect of that. Did anything else jump out to you about my notes or anything like that?
No, I think you got it all on this side.
Few uncharacteristic mistakes, whether it was jumping off sides by Dante Hightower at a big moment, or the jumping off sides on the field goal that led to a touchdown the very next play. New England did some things in this game that we don't see New England do either way. And really the biggest thing was the defense not being able to get off the field. Especially, we saw the early drives and how they got up 17-0. Right. But the more important drive was, oh gosh, it's 17-13, and New England's got the ball, right? Okay, and they're driving down. The fumble happens. New England gets the ball back again. It's 24-20. You're going, oh, New England's still going to come back and find a way to win this game. Here we go, right? And Baltimore goes on a 14-play, 81-yard drive, probably the biggest drive of the year, with Harbaugh going for it on 4th down. Lamar Jackson made a great corner route throw to Mark Andrews against man-to-man coverage against Terrence Brooks. I don't know if you remember that play exactly, but that was a huge moment in the game because 14-play, 81-yard drive for 8 minutes where their defense had been tired and on the field a lot at the end of the second quarter and third quarter, that pretty much evened the game out, gave the defense the energy it needed to make another stop. And then, of course, they put on a late touchdown once again. It's just not very often we see somebody do that to the New England Patriots.
Time of possession for the Ravens, 37 minutes. Time of possession for the Patriots, 22 minutes.
Right.
So
I mean, that's crazy.
Super dominant.
You never see Patriots give up touchdowns and Patriots offense settle for field goals.
Yeah.
And because usually that's what New England does to the other team. They make you settle for field goals and we score touchdowns. And it was kind of vice versa in this one, which is rare to see New England in that position.
I want to switch to the other side.
Yeah, that's good. I hit it all, you think? Anything you
think you got it all.
All right, good.
Yeah,
all right.
that was very thorough.
All right,
okay,
good.
so how about Patriots O, Ravens D? So we got Tom Brady threw the ball 46 times.
Yes. Not what they want to do.
285 yards, 1 touchdown. I was looking at the deep ball, so you throw it that many times, you figure, okay, maybe he made a few deep completions, and he did, just 2, but passes 10 or more yards downfield for Tom Brady. 2 of 7, 55 yards, 1 interception.
Yeah.
So they couldn't effectively throw the ball deep down the field.
Nope.
Couldn't effectively run the ball.
Right.
And so basically it was the short passing game is all the Patriots had.
It was. I mean, again, a little bit of a disadvantage where you don't see the Patriots be at the disadvantage up front very often, but their O-line's beat up. They're not the same. I mean, David Andrews, he's gone for the year. He's one of the better centers in football. You know, they're missing their left tackle, the kid Isaiah Wynn from Georgia, his first-round pick. He's not there. Shaq Mason's not having a great year. So they have issues up front, and they got a guy in Marshall Newhouse who's been cut by, I feel like every team in football for a reason, and he's playing left tackle. So they're not going to win the battle against a team like the Baltimore Ravens, again, where – let's get into this and why New England eventually goes to no huddle, because they just said, we can't deal with these big people they have on front. That's the biggest issue. And Brady, yeah, he's not great on the deep ball passes. More times than not because he's getting hit as he's throwing it, or he's throwing it deep because he's going, oh, shit, they're collapsing on me. And that's really, first off, Brady's fearlessness in the pocket, is he a little jumpy here and there? Sure. But, not jumpy to, Eli Manning the last 2 or 3 years.
No.
It's amazing how fearless Brady still is at 42 in the pocket.
He can move a millimeter.
Yeah, right.
And evade
in a way,
guys.
and it's a great,
the weirdest
right.
thing to watch.
It's like a gangly Bambi, but he somehow makes you miss and moves around.
A foot here, a foot there, and 5 guys miss. I don't know how if it's just out of respect to Tom Brady, they don't want to sack him out of respect for what he's done in his career. Well, but it's just he barely moves in the pocket.
But he's got a great sense. Yes, effective. It is. It's really effective, and of course he keeps his eyes downfield. Yeah, Tom Brady's amazing. Yeah. I'm just amazed at his toughness there. And then really, as the game went on and he realized, oh man, I'm going to have to throw the ball under pressure, he just said, screw it. And they were hitting him and everything. And I give Baltimore credit, too, for hitting him. You know, I complained about this on PFT a few weeks ago. Everyone, plays Tom like he's, the golden child. They help him up and they, wipe his uniform up. Yeah. And, Josh Norman was getting the dirt out of his knee brace a few weeks ago. Stop it. New England would never do that to Tom Brady if they were playing Tom Brady or another legend quarterback. Belichick would truly get mad if he was you're going to help the other team's quarterback? Are you crazy?
You know what seems weird, too? It's every time he throws the ball away, it seems like the refs are over-aggressive in showing that there was a receiver in the area. There's a guy there.
He gets a little protected there. I don't know what took him so long on the one intentional grounding. I wanted to be what do you, there was not a receiver within 30 yards. And
there's no way Tom just did that.
Yeah.
There's no way he grounded.
I think that's a little sometimes, too.
Right?
Belichick and Brady wouldn't make that
They
mistake.
don't do that. So here's a couple other things here, too.
Yeah, go ahead.
James White, leading rusher, just 38 yards for the Patriots. Like I mentioned before, they were 3 wide receivers set.
They had to.
Basically the whole game.
Yep.
38-year-old Ben Watson played almost, I think he played every snap of the game here, too. Mm-hmm. And so basically the Ravens got them into this personnel that didn't come off the field, and they were fairly one-dimensional. They
were. They had to be, because I think they realized early on, oh, wow, okay, when we try to, get in I formation and run the ball and do that kind of stuff, they realize they're not going to win the battle. They're just not. And I meant to get on that. Baltimore, okay, again, up front, I just want to explain to people how big they are as a football team, all right? Brandon Williams is their tackle. He's 6'1", 336. The other tackle next to him is 6 foot 340. okay? Matt Judon, their outside linebacker, 6'3", 261. Chris Wormley, the other defensive lineman they play, 6'5", 300. You know, the size of the people they have is, it's big person after big person after big person. And so I think New England realized, one, they couldn't get in some of those run sets where they want to stay balanced and do that. Two, they don't have great, like, speed of receiver. Other than Philip Dorsett, no one's really a guy that you go, ooh, I'm scared of him running by me. So now Baltimore, if you're in those, like, run sets, they were, like, kind of doing New England. Like, people are everywhere. Like, and Tom's like, I don't know who's blitzing or who's coming or what the hell's going on. They gave some really untraditional looks. They do a lot of the things that New England can do to people on defense. So yeah, Brady was seeing ghosts, right? Pete is in my ear saying that. But yeah, because he's not sure either. So really, ultimately,
he would never say that.
Well, ultimately, that's why they got to the plan of attack you're talking about.
Yeah.
They went to get and said, okay, we're not going to win the phone booth battle versus this team. Let's spread them out. Let's go up tempo. Let's see if we can tire out these 340, 330-pound guys by going hurry up and doing all of that stuff and just wear them out. And really, that's what they were trying to do. And they were on their way to doing it until, you know, really midway through the third quarter, the fumble by Edelman, which never happens, was huge. And then the next drive, they do go on a long drive, but the Baltimore offense kind of saved them. So they found the right formula eventually. But again, this is a tough matchup for the Patriots. It is. The Ravens have some things on their team that pose problems. We talk about the Patriots secondary. Hey, let's not forget the Ravens secondary is real. You know, when you want to go Jimmy Smith, 22. Yep. Marcus Peters, 24. Not Avonte Maddox. Anthony Averett, okay, 34. He's an underrated, really good player. Brandon Carr, number 39. And then Marlon Humphrey, who's probably just behind Stephon Gilmore for one of the best corners in football. It just tells you how talented they are. So they can mix and match and do things with their front seven because of that great secondary they have, too. It allows them flexibility.
So Marcus Peters has totally been implemented into this defense now.
Yes.
8 tackles, 1 pass defense. He was one of 4 Ravens defenders to play every snap. I almost feel like the Rams should have kept him.
Well, I know. I don't know what happened there, whether it was an attitude or they were scared of just maybe the money they were going to have to pay him. I would think that's ultimately what led to that.
Because he played every snap.
He is, and he's going to continue because they're going to need him. You know, they have a little bit of a problem in Baltimore where they can't really rush the passer. Now, they can rush the passer a little against New England if it's normal tempo.
Yep.
But as you saw, when it got up tempo, they don't have speed guys off the edge. So they have to find ways to blitz and do things creatively sometimes, and having good secondary people allows them to do it.
So you're high on the secondary.
Yes.
Not necessarily inclusive of Earl Thomas.
No, Earl Thomas I'm not. You know, I know. I wrote the one note. Like, Earl, yeah, I mean, you know, you heard Chris Collinsworth say, like, man, they're attacking Earl Thomas in the pass game. Yeah, of course they are. Earl can't run anymore. Now, Earl is still smart and intuitive and can read eyes and has a good feel for the game, and he's still a good tackler. But when Earl gets in coverage situations, no, negative Ghost Rider. He's lost a gear. He's lost 2 gears. I mean, we saw that when, remember, he was chasing Nick Chubb and gave up like 50 yards into the run. And it was like, no, there's 50 more yards to go. Yeah. Don't give up. Yeah, he's lost that aspect. And they were going to attack him, just like you saw when James White got singled on him. They were going to attack him because I'm sure. I used to do that for New England, make coverage tapes, right? So the team we were going to play, I had to make tapes of the DBs and the DBs specifically with notes next to the plays to say, like, ooh, has trouble, bursting out of a break. Ooh, has trouble flipping hips and turning it on. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. New England, of course, is New England. They deep dive into everything. And I'm sure they looked at one of those coverage tapes and said, yeah, Earl does look like he has runs. And whoever's evaluating this keeps going, doesn't run well, or lacks top end speed. Yeah. And then they attack it. They play that matchup and the scheme game, everything to go with it.
Can we give a little more love to Matthew Judon?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you mentioned him already.
Yep.
Former 5th round guy.
Yeah.
Out of Grand Valley State University, my hometown.
Your hometown.
Grand Rapids, Michigan there. Had 4 hits on Brady last night.
He's their best pass rusher.
Most of any Raven.
Right.
Played over 80% of the snaps for the first time in his 4-year career. He's playing over 80% of the snaps this year. And in the introductions, did you hear him say his body is built by Taco Bell?
Oh,
did you hear him say
I
that?
did not hear him say that.
Yeah,
I missed that.
big week for fast
Taco
food
Bell?
because, well, fast food in general, because Deshaun Watson, remember he said the Popeyes chicken sandwich helped his eye.
Oh, yes, right.
You got Taco Bell here. And,
Yes.
which makes me happy as a guy that I do really appreciate fast food.
Yeah, well, what's your favorite fast food?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
Could eat it every day. Yeah, I imagine that you have given up fast food.
For the most part. If I'm going fast food, I'm just going to McDonald's for their French fries and a chocolate shake.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And how often do you do that?
Once every 4 months.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I could tell you my favorite order at every fast food chain. Burger King, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I could go through them all.
Well,
not great for you, but still. But I appreciate it. So
yes.
He's built by Taco Bell, but he was, he's good. He's emerging.
He is good. He's a lot like the guy they lost, like Zadarius Smith. I mean, he's that similar type of player. Really good in the run, really good all-around football player who, yes, can be disruptive along the quarterback, but just another big body on that Ravens defense. Yeah. And, you know, two things that just stand out to me just real quick before we move on. Really, I don't know what had happened in this game if, like, the Ravens don't fumble early on, right? I mean, they got the ball. They get the ball 17-0, and Mark Ingram's rips it up the middle, right? So, I mean, first it was the Cyrus Jones fumble on the special teams, which led to a 4-play, 20-yard drive for a touchdown. Then it was the Mark Ingram fumble, which led...
Yeah, it was almost like we called and said, hey, we can't have this game be a blowout.
Yeah.
This is too big of a game on our air. We don't want it to be a blowout.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just what John Harbaugh wanted. But either way,
to throw that conspiracy
they held New England to field goals twice. The two field goals at the end of the half. After the Mark Ingram fumble, they held him to a field goal there. That was huge. And then one of the biggest plays was James White tripping on his own guy.
Oh, yeah, down at the 1-yard line.
He's going to walk in. I mean, it's a touchdown. But he trips on his own guys. They touch him down. They have to kick the field goal. So instead of it being 17-all at half, it's 17-13, which was a big victory for the Ravens defense.
Is that everything?
I think so. Last thing I want to say about the Ravens.
Yep.
Why would you even play them in a phone booth game? Why? I mean, just don't do that. The two teams they lost to did not do that. So that'll be something I think you see as you go forward against the Ravens. Like,
spread them out?
The Chiefs and the Browns spread them out. And really the Browns, who ran the ball well in that game, they ran the ball in spread formations for the most part too.
I mean, didn't they try to do that, the Patriots, or no?
They did. Well, at first they didn't.
Yeah.
At first they kind of came out to go like, hey, this is what we do. We're going to be balanced and change our personnel sets, and we're going to get some I formation and run, and Brady will be underneath the center. But then they realized, like, okay, we're not going to win, and they adjusted, and that's when they got into the spread out battle. You're exactly right.
Cool. Well, I don't know why you said you were going to try to keep it to an hour. You knew that. There was no way that was ever going to happen.
It's a damn deep dive.
No, because there's too much. You look at it enough, and you might as well get it out there.
We're going to make it. Here we go. All right, I'm sorry. I was trying to jump it. Screw these games.
Okay, yeah, let's do a few headlines here. So let's go. We got a couple of editions here. We'll start with the buzzer beaters edition.
Yep.
So we had some games that came down to the last second, which was great. It was a really good week of games. It felt like there were some really competitive games, and the other games that weren't had results that you didn't see coming, like with the Chargers over the Packers.
No.
So we had a good week of NFL. So let's go through some of them here.
Let's do it.
This is the buzzer beaters edition. We'll start with the Chiefs and the Vikings. And the Chiefs win 26-23. And the headline I'm going with is Vikings get their butt curd.
Butt curd?
Yep.
Why curd?
Harrison Butker.
That's pretty good.
4 field goals, including the 44-yard game winner as time expired. After Matt Moore came through with a couple big plays to Kelsey for a 17-yard gain, and then Tyreek Hill for a 13-yard gain, proving that Patrick Mahomes is unnecessary.
You don't need him.
You don't need him.
Well, I'll say this, and I know you've heard me say this. I think it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise for this team overall with him out. It's good because it's going to give them some other avenues of attack on the offensive side of the ball. Two things about the Chiefs, and we'll move on. Their defense continues to get better and pose problems. Hey, they did a good job stopping the run yesterday with Dalvin Cook. When you stop the run with the Minnesota Vikings, therefore, it makes them hard to do their bootleg passes that they love to do. Neither one of those were real effective, and those are kind of staples of Minnesota's offense. So really, kudos to Steve Spagnuolo and Andy Reid for making adjustments on the defensive side of the ball. Andy running the ball a little bit, okay? Not a lot. But the big thing is, some of the things he's done in the past game. And I did a little package on Sunday Night Football last night where, he is making things simple on a guy like Matt Moore, who's doesn't know every detail of the offense, or if he does, it's still new to him.
But making a lot of plays.
These max protect, like keep 7 guys in the block. Let's just send 2 or 3 guys out because they're really fast, and if we just give them time to work, they'll get open eventually.
And you hate that because you should do that for the starter too.
Well, yeah, I do. Well, I think it should be.
They're being like, wow, I could do that.
Let's not. Yeah, why do we have to be in 4 wides and like every time, every now and then? Let's make it look like we're gonna.
Easy too.
Well, yeah, easy and it's like it puts pressure on the defense to go, oh wow, they're gonna block, and like Mahomes is gonna have that much time to sit back there and let Tyreek Hill do like a post corner or a corner post or a double move and all that stuff. So I got to give them credit that way for doing that stuff.
And I looked at the 91-yard touchdown by Damian Williams there.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of a cool play because it almost looks like it was a design cutback.
I think it was
going left and designed to go right. And if you look at the offensive line, it's like a wall.
Right.
He doesn't get touched until 20 yards down the field.
Yeah, and what is it? Harrison Smith maybe gets a hand on him, somebody like that.
Yep, 20 yards down the field. And the only other guy to touch him was Tyreek Hill.
Right.
At the 10-yard line.
Insane.
Like, it really was. It was 20 yards down the field.
Yeah.
It was a wall. When you figure you're at your own 9-yard line.
Right.
You're trying to get it out of there. It might be kind of tough. It wasn't tough at all.
No, it wasn't. But you're right. The schematics of the play made it very hard because also what basically happened was with the motions and the things they did to start the play, Minnesota was kind of going with the motions and trying to figure it out. And on the fly, they're having to figure out, where's my run fit? And that became the issue. And basically, Harrison Smith was responsible for a gap where, the tight end came across, so he's watching him, and he's worried about him man-to-man, but yet he has to stop the run. And that's just, to me, that's not good coaching. You're asking guys to do things that are just unrealistic. Hey, cover the tight end and be responsible for this gap. Oh, the tight end went all the way over there, but you still got to be responsible for that gap. Oh, yeah, okay, coach, no problem. I'll be in 2 places at once, no problem. It's not possible, right?
Do that.
So that's an issue.
One more real quick. The Chiefs have thrown 1 interception this year. That wasn't even by Matt Moore.
No.
That was by Mahomes.
Yeah.
Only one other team has 1 interception on the year. Can you name that team?
Yeah. Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, no. That's
yeah.
pretty good.
I know. Well, I saw Russell Wilson's stats earlier today. I was like, man, he's throwing 22 touchdown passes and 1 interception. How dare I look at stats?
I didn't know that you were doing that.
Well, Russell Wilson might be the MVP of football right now, so I had to look.
Big win for the Chiefs over the Vikings. They get the win at home. Another in the buzzer beaters edition of Give Me the Headlines. It is Steelers beating the Colts 26-24, and my headline for this one is Daniel Snyder's top candidate slipping away. Mike Tomlin, his top candidate, might stay in Pittsburgh after all. They've won 4 of their last 5, and they get the win as Adam Vinatieri cannot be the hero 2 weeks in a row.
No, he cannot. And I wanted to say this too. This is 2 games where, the Chiefs and the Steelers, if you play defense and you can kick field goals, you're going to be in the game. And the Steelers can play some defense. They were 4 for 4 in field goals. And then the biggest thing is the Minkah Fitzpatrick pick 6 at the end of the half.
Oh, yeah.
Colts have got kind of the game
they had a chance
not
to
in
go
hand.
17-3.
They could have gone up 17-3, at least 13-3, you think, at that point.
Yeah.
Who knows with Vinatieri right now. But pick 6 by Minkah Fitzpatrick, that was huge. And then Pascal fumbling a punt return that gave the Pittsburgh Steelers another cheap field goal to go up 23-18. Those were big moments in the football game in general. So that really is what jumps out to me more than anything. Brian Hoyer put in a tough spot, did a lot of really good things.
Yeah,
but
played okay.
Yeah, he played okay. But the Steelers' defense is real, and you're seeing that they can cause a lot of havoc and, almost win games by themselves to a degree.
Unsung heroes on that Minkah Fitzpatrick 96-yard interception return. Cameron Hayward getting good pressure on Hoyer.
He's a beast.
And Ola Adeni, who didn't play that many snaps. I think played 5 in the game, but had good pressure and then made the block down the field.
To spring him?
Well, I mean,
he was kind of gone
no matter what. There was an
offensive
lineman there. He probably wasn't going to catch him, but he was running.
Yeah.
It was cool to see, I think, a second-year guy out of Toledo do stuff like that. And Bud Dupree, I also noted in my notes here.
He's a beast all year long. It's a contract year, and he's trying to get paid. So I don't know where it is with Bud Dupree. Well, he might, because he's having a phenomenal year. Yes, he is.
Forced fumble, recovery.
He's dominant.
Playing 90% of the snaps for the first time in his career.
Yeah, he's got the ability to take over games. It's just he's usually one of those guys where you go, take it over. Come on, hurry, take it over. Where the hell you been the last 30 snaps? And all of a sudden he has 10 snaps in a row where you go, man, it's the best defensive player on the field. Dupree, Cameron Hayward, who you mentioned, T.J. Watt are difference makers for that. For that Steelers defense.
Steelers, they're not dead yet.
Not
Seems like
dead
with Mike
yet.
Tomlin, they're never dead.
Never dead.
So they get the win there over the Colts. And the final one in our Buzzer Beaters headline edition is the Lions and Raiders.
Yep.
The Raiders get the win. Where's my notes on this one?
Great, really fun game to watch. It was back and forth, lots of big plays. Matt Stafford was phenomenal once again. Matt Stafford's one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football. He's probably just on the edge of the top 5, really. You know, people, I don't give a damn what you say. You got to go watch Matt Stafford play and just tell me who's going to make some of the plays that he makes on a weekly basis. Who? Other than like Watson and Mahomes and Rodgers and Russell Wilson. I mean, he has a few plays every week and throws where you just go, damn, there's just not that many people on the planet that can do what he does. Run game was not necessarily effective. You know, so that was fun. Derek Carr played really well. He had a clutch touchdown scramble there where he scrambled to the left, throws the game-winning touchdown. But really, it goes back to the Raiders, running the ball, John Gruden doing the right things on the offensive side of the ball that are helping out their team entirely. They're helping out their defense, who's not that great. He's helping out Derek Carr by running the ball the way he is. They impose their physicality. That's what I like about them. And I don't like the Lions' last play.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so here was my headline. I found it. Raiders' dumb timeout was genius. So it was at the end of the game. Remember, it was like 8 seconds left. Lions don't have a timeout. They get it down to the 1 yard line, 4th and goal. They're scrambling. The Lions are out a wide formation. And it's like, as a Detroit Lions fan, this happens all the time. It's like you think something's good. You think they got a break, and actually is not a break. Because I bet you with that wide spread out formation, you got 3 wide receivers on the field. I bet Matt Stafford makes a play and figures out a way to penetrate that Raiders defense at the 1 yard line. As it was, the Raiders do call that timeout, and then Detroit goes with the double tight end. And,
2 running backs.
2 running backs.
Tried to do that. It was 3 tight ends.
You didn't like the play.
No, I did not like the play. You know, and just back to your timeout scenario, too.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and you're right. I mean, first off, as they happened live, I went, oh, Raiders, why would you call a timeout there? The Lions are in disarray, and it's like the Seahawks at the end of the Super Bowl where Belichick has the timeout, but he doesn't call it because he looks over at the other team and goes, whoa, they got their heads are spinning here. They might mess things up here. Right? So I did say that. Now, listen, I don't know the Raiders team like the Raiders coaches do. They do have a lot of young, new parts on their team, so maybe they just didn't feel comfortable. I understand them calling a timeout. I don't understand the Lions, who've not really been able to run the ball all day long, get in a heavy power running set and basically make the best player on your team, number 9, Matthew Stafford, one-dimensional off of like a bootleg. Like to what you're saying, I would have seen, first of all, the best players on the field for the Lions during the day were 1, Matthew Stafford, 2, Marvin Jones, 3, Kenny Golladay, or maybe it's Marvin Golladay then Jones, whatever. Neither one of them are on the field in the biggest moment. And then you're not letting Matthew Stafford do what he does best, which is kind of play backyard football and throw piss missiles all over the field. And he was doing that all day long, and instead they said, oh, yeah, we're going to fake it up the run even though we haven't run the ball up the middle all day. You know, we think they'll bite it, and they were ready for it.
They were completely ready for it. And for the Raiders, Josh Jacobs is really good.
Yes, he is.
28 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Only with a long of 17, so it wasn't like he broke off one huge one. And
no, it's a lot of really good 8,
really good
10,
runs,
and 5, and he can do it all. He's awesome.
Sixth in the NFL in rushing and at 4.9 yards per carry.
Who else would be in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year right now?
I think he's clearly number 1.
He is, right?
Kyler Murray is there, but
I
think it's
DK Metcalf might have something to say a little, but
that's true. We'll get to him.
But I think you're right with Josh Jacobs, though. I think he's number 1 right now.
I mean, he's top 10 in the NFL in yards from scrimmage. Of anyone.
Pretty hard to argue.
He's been utilized kind of like Alvin Kamara, like you talked about. Before the season began, you said, I think that Gruden's going to use him in the passing game and the running game like the Saints do Kamara, and it kind of has been that way.
It's going that way. I don't think he's quite polished up in the pass game yet to be Kamara, but he's getting there. Mike Tirico's podcast, however, is completely polished up.
It is.
Yes, well, he's Mike Tirico.
He's polished 100% of the time.
He's like the godfather of all announcers, okay? But download, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Today's podcast, Week 9 recap with Dungy. Rodney Harrison, and Mike Florio. And if you watch on NBCSports.com/NFL, you'll see Coach Dungy's dance moves, okay? The man can boogie on down. Also, last week, Mike sat down with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
It was a great interview. You got to check it out. And asked him whether he's worried about taking big hits. Let's hear what Lamar has to say.
I'm not. I watched the game up close. I'm not really taking no hits.
You got to figure it out?
I wouldn't say I got to figure it out. It's any given Sunday. You can get hurt in practice on a drop back. Knock on wood. My guy, Teddy Bridgewater, got hurt on a drop back, so you can get hurt doing anything. It don't matter if you're running. You can be stretching, hurt yourself. I play ball to win. I don't worry about getting injured, stuff like that. I just play it safe.
When you hear guys like us say, I don't know if he can last running this much, what do you say to us?
All right. I can't say nothing. You guys got your own opinion. I'm going to play ball. I'm going to do what got me here to help me succeed, to help my team keep winning. That's all I can do. I can't stop you guys from saying nothing. Protect myself,
He is like the most honest football. He gives you the answer. There's no like cliches with Lamar Jackson.
Quick-witted too. I mean, he's
like, what are you going to say to us? He's like, why would I say anything?
Yeah, why? It's your opinion. I'm not going to change it. Yeah.
Okay, you can say what you want to say.
I mean, hey, am I worried? I mean, yeah, because I like him and I want him to play well, but I'm not really worried.
And he's
wiry muscle, like freaky muscle. And we just talked about his neck, and it's like bigger than both of ours combined. Okay, this is the other thing he does, where. Let's do it. Let's stand up one more time.
We're going to the stand-up
one more
again?
time.
Okay,
and you're going to be a linebacker this time.
Okay, I'll be a linebacker.
What he's amazing at is instead of like, oh, yeah, you're ready there, and just like going, oh, bam, and getting crushed, and you're like, man, he can't take those hits. He kind of does this stuff, and just as you're getting ready to hit, he like gets skinny to where, okay, maybe you tackle him, but he slides.
Onto a jersey
you're grabbing on, or he like slides off to the side of you and then just falls to the ground. So he doesn't really take that car crash hit. That's what he's very good at least as far as saving his body.
It's kind of like growing up watching Barry Sanders, because he did that all the time. It was like he almost never took a big hit.
You're very rare you're going to find any of those. Right, exactly right. It's like Saquon Barkley. You don't see him really a whole lot either. They find ways to kind of just get on the edge of a guy that's tackling him to where they don't have to absorb the full blow.
Deep dive number 2.
Let's do it.
Deep dive number 2. Seahawks beat the Bucs in overtime, 40-34.
Yep.
Another very elusive quarterback that doesn't take a whole lot of big hits, and Russell Wilson.
Same kind of thing though. Same kind of guy, right? Always kind of either gets down or like gets skinny or just lets you get the edge of him. Doesn't let you just like pound him in the chest.
So what do you want to start with? You want to start with that, the Seahawks O, Bucs D? Here?
Sure, let's start there.
Can I say off the bat that
Please.
I like both of these teams.
I do too.
I think they're both really interesting. And even though the Bucs are 2-6, I think they've got some really good players.
They do. They're fun to watch.
Players, offensively and defensively.
Yeah. I think
in this game.
Let's start right there. Because the strength of their whole team position-wise is their defensive line. Okay, their defensive line it's phenomenal. JPP, Shaquille Barrett, Vita Vea or Via Vita, whatever the hell his damn name is.
It's interchangeable.
Vita Vea, yes.
Vita Vea.
Vita Vea? Vita, damn, I can't get this guy's name right.
You will never.
I can't do it. Sue in the middle, okay? So there is a reason they're one of the best run-stopping defenses in football. This is my biggest issue with the game.
Okay.
Man, the Buccaneers played way too much man-to-man. Way too much. I mean, just played into the hands of the Seahawks. The Seahawks want you to play to man-to-man. They don't have the type of offense that can get open against zone. That's their issue. When teams play zone, they're not that creative to stretch zones and find holes and things like that. What they are good at, and I can tell you and show you 22 touchdown examples of it from Russell Wilson and a bunch of others, when you play man-to-man, he can throw perfect passes, he can throw great back shoulder throws, he can extend a play, and then you have to cover a guy man-to-man for 74 seconds to where that's not going to happen and he's going to come open. They have picked one of the good things they really have in their pass offense. They have all the right pick plays for man-to-man too. So my biggest complaint about the game is the Buccaneers put into way too much of and some of the old school defensive coordinators are still doing this in football, where it's like, we're going to stop the run. We're going to stop the run no matter what. Even though there might not be running good today, we're still going to stop it.
Yeah.
Great. That's great. How about you paid your defensive line a lot of money? How about you put the pressure on them to stop the run by themselves, right? And not put a guy like Jamel Dean, number 35, who's played like 10 snaps the whole year, on Revis Island all game. That's really the travesty of the game. What they did to Jamel Dean, their rookie corner out of Auburn, who I really like, but has been hurt, hasn't really played, makes his first start, and they put him in the toughest positions out of any corners I watched in football yesterday. And that wasn't fair to him. So stupidly playing too much man-to-man was the biggest issue for the Buccaneers on the day. They had the run game bottled up. I mean, Carson ran 16 for 105. One of those was a 60-yard run.
Yep.
Where I would like to tell you,
which was a great run.
It was a great run, and it wasn't like the Buccaneers got gashed. Sue and Bo Allen were there to make the tackle
simultaneously
and hit each other basically as they were about to make the tackle on Chris Carson.
I think it is a candidate for run of the year.
Yeah,
I really do.
Because it looks like he really ran through both of their tackles.
You think they hit each other?
Well, they did. On film, I kept slowing it down. You know, they had their arms out, but it's because they hit each other so hard they couldn't wrap up. So there was two 320-pound guys who hit each other.
Would have been a 3-yard gain.
Would have been a 3-yard gain. So that was my biggest issue. Hey,
but then he did break a tackle 8 yards down the field with Jordan White.
Well, nobody runs harder than Chris Carson.
Yeah.
Nobody. He's the hardest running back in football.
He's underrated still.
Definitely.
We're not talking about
Probably
a lot
not.
of the talk about Delvin Cook, a lot of the talk about Christian McCaffrey.
Yes,
running
right.
back. I think Chris Carson's right up there. He's having an unbelievable year.
He's a lunch pail, like just wears you out as the game goes on. And the reason we don't talk about him much is because they got number 3 at quarterback, who's a freak show.
So they did, you're ripping on the Bucs defense. They did hold Russell Wilson to under 400 yards.
Oh, yeah. Under 400. Good job.
Five touchdowns, tied a career high. He had, and the deep ball for him. So I talked about the deep ball for Tom Brady. They basically didn't have one. Deep ball for Russell Wilson. They threw it more than 20 yards down the field 6 times. He completed 4 of them for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He's arguably the best deep ball thrower in the sport. So you basically just opened up the door. We're like, hey, best deep ball thrower in the sport. We're going to give you lots of chances to throw the ball deep today. Can you hit it? You've proven to us for 9 years now you can, but we, for some reason, have flown across the country and don't believe it. Oh, well,
we want to see it with our own eyes.
It's just stupid. I don't know other way to say it. It was the wrong game plan in general, especially when you're missing a guy like Carlton Davis, who was their original starting corner. They put way too much pressure on their secondary. It wasn't fair to them. So I don't even blame the secondary players for the Buccaneers. I blame Todd Bowles with that defense and what he did. And again, always put the pressure on the money of your defense. And their money is they have Sue and Vita Villa, who's 340 pounds, and JPP and Shaquille Barrett. And they have these guys. That's the strength of their team. How about you, let them see if they can stop the run first, okay? And you have 2 middle linebackers who are good, too. What are we, worried about? Call their bluff at first. The one thing I know that's going to hurt you when you play the Seahawks and you give them the opportunity is Russell Wilson. That's the one thing I know for sure. Mm-hmm. And they basically, danced with the devil, and then they lost.
Devin White did have a good game, probably the best game of his.
Well, he's a freak show. You're right.
He had 12 combined tackles, most of anyone in the game. He had 2 forced fumbles, 2 quarterback hits, played all but 1 snap. He's coming on. He had a little bit of an MCL injury, but they have so many playmakers, and you're right. It has to. The Seahawks are good. They're good at home, even though they haven't quite been as good at home this year. So it's going to be tough to stop them no matter what. But they got so many playmakers on the defensive side. It's tough to see them giving up 40 points to anybody.
Definitely. They got to change. It's just too simple. I didn't count it, okay? But just roughly as I'm watching the film, how many plays? I just want to make sure. Tampa Bay, Seattle ran 68 plays. I'm going to say on 63 plays in the game, it was man-to-man. Every play. So there's Russell Wilson and Schottenheimer. Mm-hmm. He's calling the plays, going, man, okay, it's probably going to be another man-to-man play. Let me call one of the ones I like. And Russell's walking to the line of scrimmage, never having to think about one thing, never having to drop back and think about one thing, just going, what's my best matchup?
Yeah.
Oh, they got Jamel Dean in the slot, which he shouldn't be playing there, against Tyler Lockett, who's in the slot of 3 receivers, and he can go any which way on the football field. Oh, yeah, no problem. Cover him, kid. Yeah, no problem. It's just unfair what they did to ask him of that.
So Tyler Lockett, huge day for him. Led the NFL in receptions this week. He had 13, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. You do think the Seahawks have gotten better at pass protection?
Without a doubt.
I mean, that was their number 1 weakness. And it almost had to be Russell Wilson get outside the pocket because you can't do it from inside the pocket.
Yes. Last year it started to go in the right direction. This year it's getting to like, wow, okay, this is pretty damn good. This group here, like, they're legitimately, if you're not blitzing them or outnumbering them, they're doing a good job of picking it up or just handling the sheer force of 4 really good guys like the Bucs have to send at you, rushing the passer.
Can I give you a victory lap?
Sure.
Can you do one of those?
Sure.
Because you're very critical and you self-scout thyself.
I do.
All the time.
Yeah.
You point out when you're wrong.
I pride myself in it.
So I want to point out when you're right.
Right.
You take a victory lap on DK Metcalf.
Oh, yes.
Because he was a second-round pick for the
late
Seahawks.
second-round pick.
And you said in the draft, you go, he is the #1 wide receiver in the draft.
Yes.
And he has looked like it. He had 9 targets, 6 catches, 123 yards, had a 53-yard one. Played all but 4 offensive snaps, the most he has played all season long.
Yeah.
He is emerging as a star.
Yeah. Now, listen, I don't know. Maybe there was issues of people outside of football with DK Metcalf. Maybe that's why he fell a little bit. But more times than not, I heard, like, his route tree wasn't extensive at Ole Miss. His production wasn't that good at Ole Miss. Well, let's turn on the fucking film and figure it out why. Oh, they only coached 3 routes at Ole Miss, so he's doing what he's coached. Oh, his production wasn't good? Oh, yeah, his offense sucked, and so did his quarterback. Oh, that's why he didn't catch the ball? And then, let alone, I would truly, and if I took you back to my notes on DK Metcalf, I literally have notes where it goes like, are they trying not to give him and A.J. Brown the ball? Like, it really was like, hey, you guys are too good. We're going to go over here and challenge the team, okay? I mean, it really was that. It was full Tropic Thunder throughout the year from Ole Miss last year. And it's over scouting. Oh, that's right. The biggest, strongest guy in the draft is going to be good on a field where being big and strong and fast is really important. I'm surprised by that. Surprised.
And if people just scouted like you and it was abs and thighs,
yes,
he would have been a first rounder for
sure.
sure.
Well, yeah, legs and ass, washboard abs. I mean, can't go wrong with that combo.
He played 2 more snaps than Tyler Lockett.
Washboard abs like Jonathan McDonald. He doesn't even use a washing machine. He just like
he doesn't need to. Yeah, he doesn't need to. Could sell it.
That's what he does.
Saves electricity.
Right.
So that is the Seahawks O, Bucs D. Anything else there?
I think we hit it really for the most part. Yeah, that was it. I think we hit it all.
How about we go to Bucs O, Seattle D real quick?
Yep.
I mean, they still gave up quite a few points. The Seahawks D. Tampa won the time of possession battle, 35 minutes to 28. Jameis Winston for the 3rd time this year threw no interceptions. So that was good.
No, he played good.
Did lose a fumble though.
Yep.
Offensively, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They were pretty good, the Bucs.
Did a lot of good things. Ran the ball just enough to, keep Seattle patient. This is why I thought this game could be high scoring. On our podcast with Florio on Thursday, one of my things I said was bet the over. This was a scary matchup for the Seahawks. The Seahawks are not good in the secondary. And to add to that, they're not rushing the passer very well. And, within that, Jameis Winston's aggressive. We know Mike Evans is really talented. We know Godwin's talented. And we know Byron Leftwich and the Bruce Arians offense is aggressive too. So that's not a good formula for a defense that can't cover that well and is not rushing the passer all that well right now either.
Seattle's got some big money guys.
Yeah.
You got Ziggy Ansah, you got Clowney.
Uh-huh.
You're not totally impressed.
No, they're not pulling their load right now. First off, Ansah and Clowney did not start. Now, I don't know what that was. They didn't come in until like a few plays into the game, and I don't get that.
Clowney did end up playing 82% of the snaps, his highest percentage this year.
I don't get what it was early on why he wasn't in there. And Clowney, I'll say this, for the year has really been one of their better players and disruptive. And the stats don't always tell it with Clowney. This was not a great game. The Bucs have a big O-line. So if they can slow down a big overpowering D-line. But yeah, those guys got to show up. It's on the D-line in Seattle right now. The secondary is not going to get better. They are what they are. But Ansah, Clowney, Jerron Reed, first-round pick L.J. Collier, they got to start showing up. It's time for them to start taking over to help out that secondary. And added onto that, just like we talked about with the Bucs, just to hit this real quick, they're another team. The Hawks, they got to change it up a little in the coverage. It's man-to-man or 3 deep, or man-to-man or 3 deep. So Jameis Winston can walk to the line of scrimmage almost the whole game and go, oh, I know the defense. Cool. Okay, cool. I mean, maybe they'll blitz one guy and play man. Maybe they'll blitz one guy and play 3 deep. But it's basically the same coverage every play. You know, in the second half, they finally started playing some Tampa too. And it did. It got Tampa where they were like, whoa, what is this? You're playing zone and dropping 2 safeties back? They didn't know what to do for a few drives. But I do think they need to have more coaching creativity because their defense is not special this year. It's not. They're gonna have to win games with Russell Wilson on their offense.
You said playing quarterback versus the Hawks is easy.
It's easy because, like I was just saying, you break the huddle and you just go, okay, it's one of these 3 things. It's Tampa 2, it's cover 3, which looks like man-to-man, except like the corners just bail out, or it's actually man-to-man. And you know that's great. They don't have great corners. You know, their corners are long and they're pretty good straightaway speed. But playing corner is so much more about being long and straightaway speed. You know, you got to be able to break down, stop, start, you know, burst in and out of transition. Oh, gosh, the guy's running deep. Oh, wait, he put the brakes on to run the comeback. How quickly can you put the brakes on, put your foot in the ground, and break on the ball? They don't have those type of corners, and that's an issue for them. And it's going to be an issue for them all year long. That's why they're trying to help their secondary with guys like trading for Quandre Diggs. They know they need it in the safety. They need it all across the board to help them out.
That's why Russell Wilson's going to win the MVP.
Well,
he's going to have to if they're going to make the playoffs.
You're exactly right. You're right. If they make the playoffs, you're right. It's going to be because they've outshoot out the majority of the teams, not because it's the Legion of Boom and they won games like, you know, 17-14 like they used to in the old days.
Did we hit everything?
I think we did.
We got it.
Yeah.
Right there. Okay, that was good.
Cool.
Boom, got that. Get rid of the papers here. I throw them on the floor. I do pick them up, although John helps out sometimes, I think, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the fastest growing song, the hit single in the world. This is worldwide. Let's hear it.
Damn. I'm okay. Damn. I'm okay. Yeah, no, I mean, yes, I'm okay. Illegal gambleizing. Oh, baby. Illegal I am Chris Sims. I'm okay. Damn. Okay.
Oh, damn,
I love that.
Okay.
Illegal gambleizing.
It needs to be longer. You needed to make that song longer, right? Maybe we'll just play it for a minute.
I said that on the PFT. It did not. Like, he was like, illegal gambleizing, huh? And I like didn't even understand that I had said that. Like I was like, oh, what's wrong with that? It sounded perfect.
Yeah, right. And you listen back to it, and it still sounds perfect, right?
Yeah, right.
That's fine. I know what you mean.
Yes.
So your first damn okay.
Yeah.
Is going to a player you've liked for many years.
Right.
And it is DeSean Watson, who it's tough for a player you already are very high on to get a damn okay, because damn okay means like you're even more impressed than you normally are.
Yeah.
But you're even more impressed than you normally are with DeSean Watson.
Well, he's just so special. I mean, it just, you know, his ability to make big throws, extend plays. I mean, you've heard me say it's not like the most imaginative passing offense in Houston. It's really played off of the strengths of Watson.
Yep. Like,
oh, hey, he'll, you know, let's design this guy to go 40 yards downfield. DeSean will hit the bullseye and throw it in there. Don't worry, no problem. You know. Oh, and if the 2 guys we did send out on a route aren't open, DeSean he'll dance around or run until one of them do get open. I mean, there's so much pressure on him. So he's efficient doing it more times than not. You saw some of the plays he made in the game. And then I always give Billy O'Brien credit for staying patient with the run game, too. That's the other thing he does. Even though it's not like a real complex team, what they do offensively, they do put pressure on you because they'll beat you up front, send you deep in the passing game, and then, of course, you have to worry about all the other things Watson does, too. And even though it's not like the greatest way to do it, it is a way of, oh, we have to defend the whole field because of what they do in their little formula.
Well, Carlos Hyde had 160 yards.
He's having a great year.
2 of those, he had 106 yards on 2 of those runs.
Yeah.
And one of those runs, he fumbled into the end zone.
Yeah.
So it was kind of
well,
a
that's the problem with the Jaguars a little
day.
bit, though. You know, they do too much stunting and crazy stuff up front at times.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you know, I don't care who you are. You could be Calais Campbell. If you're like Calais Campbell and, you know, you're like, okay, you know, you're lining up between the guard and the tackle, but we want you to slant and get between the guard and the center.
Yeah.
And then, just stop in the middle of the gap, even though there might be a 320-pound man on your back while pushing you. Like, it's just unrealistic and stupid. Like, New England would never ask their players to do that against a team that can run the ball or wants to impose its physicality. And therefore, you end up on skates because you're going, oh, wait, coach told me to get, 5 feet to the right at the snap of the ball. Right. So set HUD, I get to the 5 feet to snap in the right, and someone's already pushing you that way if they called the right run play. You're going to end up 10 feet to the right. I don't care who you are.
First game since J.J. Watt tore his pec. You kind of wondered who would step up. And I think one of the players that stepped up was their linebacker, number 57. Brennan Scarlett out of Cal and Stanford, played 46 snaps.
Yeah.
Most he's played this year, had 2 sacks and a forced fumble.
They got some good little linebackers. And the one thing I always enjoy watching the Houston Texans play is they will try to knock your head off. They play with a physicality that it shows up on film, and it's very fun to watch. I mean, tackling is not acceptable. It's like we want to crush the guy, and that's the way football is supposed to be played.
The opposite of damn okay is it's over, and you have reserved your it's over this week for Gardner Minshew.
Well, yeah, it's over as far as like, okay, we're going to Nick Foles.
We'll never talk of him again.
No, I don't mean it like that. He had a great run. He's done a lot of good things. I mean, he had 4 turnovers in the last 5 drives of the game, right? 2
interceptions, lost 2 fumbles, sacked 3 times.
Yes, and again, it's been a little overblown and overhyped to begin with. I know he's done solid, don't get me wrong, and he's made some cool highlight plays, and he's got a great mustache.
Good hair, too.
Right, and a great hair.
Actually, the hair is underrated. Like, people talk about the mustache so much, they don't talk about the hair.
Yeah, right.
It's really good hair.
Yeah, it is. It's great hair. Great, and he wears great bandanas to go along with it. But that doesn't mean that he's like a starting quarterback right off the bat. I think he's shown that he is capable of being a starting quarterback in the future. He's a great pawn for the Jaguars to have, maybe as trade bait next year, the year after. Maybe he takes over for Nick Foles. After next year. The Jaguars can't get out of Nick Foles. They're stuck. They're not going to take a $30 million dead money cap hit in 2020 and cut him. They can't do it. So Nick Foles is going to be the quarterback when he comes back this year, and he will be the quarterback next year.
Yeah.
And he's better than Gardner Minshew right now. I'm not saying he will be ultimately, but yeah, right now he is. You've heard me say it. I mean, Nick Foles is a big guy. He's aggressive pushing the ball down the field, and his size is truly a great attribute because he's fearless with people around him. Like, pressure doesn't matter to him, and he can make throws with people all around him that a lot of quarterbacks in football can't make.
And as we've seen in the NFL this year, it's not a bad idea to have a backup quarterback who can come in and play.
Exactly right. You might be in the same boat last year. Same boat last year, right?
Kind of need that.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Foles did it 2 years in a row.
Okay, so that is Texans and Jaguars. My headline, if we did a headline for that one, Minshewed up.
Minshewed up.
So the Panthers and Titans, you're going to do a little damn okay, I want to self-scout thyself.
Yeah.
Self-scout thyself.
Self-scout thyself. Well, I picked the Titans to cover in this game. It's one of my bets of the week, okay?
They did not.
And I was wrong. I picked them to win the game outright, really.
They lost outright, 30-20. Panthers improved to 5-3 on the year. And it was Riverboat Ron rolls the dice again with a fake punt that you thought was crucial for them.
Crucial. Big-time call.
They were up 17-7, 5 minutes into the second half. So it was, early goings. I think the Titans had just scored on the previous drive to start the second half. 4th and 4 from their own 36. Colin Jones, direct snap. They barely got it.
Yeah. I mean, it was really the call of the game, like you're saying, because it felt like Tennessee had swayed the momentum back into their direction. And here they are. They get a 3-and-out on Kyle Allen and the Panthers. He calls the fake punt. They drive the pile. They get it. And I believe they go down and score the touchdown there.
They did. They did.
Right. You might have said that.
McCaffrey scored. No, I didn't. They scored on 7 plays later on a 1-yard touchdown.
So if I was going to self-scout thyself, first of all.
Where'd you go wrong on this?
Well,
I mean, it looked like the Panthers, they got tore up by the 49ers
they did.
a week prior.
They did. So I thought the Titans were going to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a little disappointing. As I was sitting there with Tony Dungy yesterday, we were both going, did the Titans not watch the game last week? Because they weren't trying to run the ball early on. And we were like, well, what are they doing? Did they not realize there was a little issue there?
They were busy. They were preparing for their own game.
Right. Now, they moved the ball. They missed 3 field goals. I mean, that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
But I did think the Titans' defense would be able to bottle up the Carolina attack. The Carolina attack, the run game, we know it's special. The pass attack is good. I don't always go, oh, wow, this is like the greatest stuff in the world. But really what it came down to is their players made plays. I mean, Kyle Allen made some great tight throws and man-to-man coverage where DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel, made great catches or just beat their guy by a step to make it happen. And ultimately, that's where I went wrong. I put, I guess, too much faith in the Tennessee Titans secondary and coaching staff to think they might come up with something a little more creative to slow down the Carolina attack, and they didn't.
And they got so many weapons. You mentioned Curtis Samuel and Kyle Allen using him. Curtis Samuel was targeted on average 22 yards downfield per pass, most of any wide receiver this week. And actually, Kyle Allen, his average pass was 13.5 yards downfield.
It looked like it.
Most of any quarterback this week in the NFL. So they were throwing the ball deep. And then you have Christian McCaffrey, who leads the NFL with scrimmage yards, too. 13 touchdowns, leads the NFL. So they got so many weapons, but I do want to give some linebacker love for Carolina. Number 54, Shaq Thompson.
Yeah, Shaq.
10 solo tackles, most of any player on Sunday. 3 tackles for a loss, tied for most of any player on Sunday. Has played almost every snap this year, despite being on the injury report with an ankle.
Yeah.
So he's played a lot for them and stepped up, and the Panthers are back.
Yeah, well,
They're
back. They're not out of this thing. Certainly not. Not at 5-3, and their defense is still good, despite what the 49ers did to them. I'm not like, oh my gosh, the Panthers defense is horrible. Kyle Shanahan's a special play caller, and that Niners team was special. So they exposed them. They found a crack in the code there. So. But I certainly was wrong about that one. And I also probably didn't think Kyle Allen would bounce back after that game. I thought, this might go down into,
spiral out of control here.
Exactly right. And it didn't. DJ Moore is one of the keys to their team, though. You talked about him. He's phenomenal. He really reminds me of Steve Smith. He's that kind of guy. He's a wide receiver in a running back's body and plays physical, can make people miss, and he's one of my favorites to watch in football.
I don't have him on my fantasy team. I do have Samuel.
Oh, it's still a good one.
Should have taken McCaffrey.
Yeah, I think anybody should have taken McCaffrey. He's in the short list of the MVP candidates right now.
Speaking of fantasy.
Yeah, Roto World Football Podcast are fantasy experts, okay? The best podcast to go to when you're thinking about texting me for fantasy advice is you, don't text me. Go to the Roto World Football Podcast, okay? Yeah. That's what they should really name it. You, don't text Chris Sims Football Podcast, okay? Yep. But Josh Norris and the Roto World crew are all over the NFL. They really are. They're going to give you great insight. Today's podcast, they got Week 9 roundup with takeaways from every game. Tomorrow, the best Week 10 waiver wire pickups. So they'll tell you if you got a crappy team like Ahmed does, they'll tell you the guys to go get.
Who's out there?
Also, last week they did a full mid-season reset megapod where they went through all 32 teams and broke down where they stand and what is their outlook for 2019 and beyond. Download and subscribe wherever you find your podcast. Check them out. Josh Norris has a big neck, just like Tyreek.
Oh, he does. Yeah,
he does, just like
neck.
Lamar Jackson.
You're
Really
right.
big neck. It's not Lamar Jackson-ish, but big for like some guy who sits next to a computer all day. Big guy.
Because you got to have good head posture. And you got to make sure not to lean over.
Yes.
He does a very good job of that.
Very good job.
Let's go. Give me the headline. Factory of Sadness edition. So here's some very disgruntled fan bases that are not happy with the way things are going. And at the top of the list, maybe the Cleveland Browns. Because I think out of all the teams that we're about to go through here, they maybe had the most expectation. Maybe them and the Browns, the Bears. But the Browns are now 2-6 on the year. They lost to the Broncos 24-19. And my headline is Browns baked. It looks like they're done. They're just not going to be able to turn it around this year. The offense does not look good. I was talking about average passes downfield.
Yeah.
So here's the weird thing.
Right.
You have Brandon Allen making his NFL debut for the Broncos, right? You have Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield, his average pass downfield, 4.6 yards, second to last in the NFL. Brandon Allen, 10.2 yards downfield, fourth in the NFL. Fourth most in the NFL this week.
Right.
So the Broncos taking chances downfield with Brandon Allen in his debut, and the Browns refusing to do that with Baker Mayfield and their offense.
Yeah, they're missing that. All right, so first we got I'm going to show you some tweets from this game.
Oh.
From the Browns-Broncos game.
Oh,
we got a little Twitter reaction, some pictures to go to here.
There's Baker. If you're watching on YouTube, this is Baker Mayfield on the right, is a man in like a trench coat. It looks very upset.
Yeah.
And the man on the left is smiling, holding his Mayfield jersey. And,
Yep.
and the caption is 18 months of being a Cleveland Brown. That's
I'm
what it
over
does
the
to you.
mustache thing, okay? I'd rather have the full scruff, what I see on the left, or just a nice, well-rounded scruff. And
Yeah.
I'm just not a big fan of his outfit in general.
And
Oh,
the
hey, yeah,
other
it
tweet
is.
is
It's a little
Baker
like
out
Uncle Buck.
It is. It is the same
It
attire.
is a little bit. There's like 4 coats on, and they're all big, too big, with a scarf. But
But like Uncle Buck's a little bit better because he's got at least a button-down shirt. Like
have
Baker's
you
a
seen that
sporting,
movie, Uncle Buck?
No, I have
Of course
not.
not. You need to watch
I hear
that.
it's a good. I hear
Holy
it's pretty good.
Shit.
Actually, I never heard that.
What? You've never even heard of it? You really got to watch Uncle Buck, dude. That's a really good one.
I mean, John Candy has
He
not
has
made
to
a bad movie.
He has
so.
to babysit his nephew and niece, and
And how did that go? Hilarity ensues.
hilarity ensues. Right? They think they're gonna walk all over them, and he gets tough. Right? It's actually really good. So
what do you think about the Browns?
all right. So the first thing with the Browns, I mean, you said it. They got to still find. I mean, Odell is their number one weapon. They got to find ways to get him the ball more. I do think every week you've heard me say, or there's been times where Odell's man to man. You gotta go to Odell and make that play, make that throw, whatever it is. I'm most disappointed in their defense, though.
Oh.
I am. I mean, just the big plays that they let up in the game. The running. I
Yeah.
mean, whether it was the Noah Fant huge play.
Oh my gosh.
Denzel Ward being really in great position on the Cortland Sutton touchdown, and Cortland Sutton made that unbelievable diving, kind of like went over his body and caught the ball. That was phenomenal. This is a film I'm going to watch tomorrow pretty thoroughly because I would like to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
You look at certain things of the game, and I can't watch it all yesterday, and we're trying to get ready for the show when these 4 o'clock games are going on, everything like that. They had the ball 73 plays. The Broncos only had 43 plays. They dominated time of possession. They had more yards.
The Browns didn't cash in. They made it to the red zone 5 times.
Right.
Had 1 touchdown, 3 field goals, turned it over on downs another time.
Yeah, those are huge moments. And, I thought that was a little bit of a mistake too. I probably would have kicked the field goal there. That's always easier to say in hindsight or when you're sitting at home watching the game. But if I remember correctly, they could have cut it to what? 17-15 at one point, maybe something like that. I can't remember exactly, but the Browns are in trouble.
When you look at the tape, look at that 75-yard touchdown from Noah Fant.
Yep.
And R.I.P. Jermaine Whitehead.
Oh.
Because he just flattened him, and it's a play like that where I think you have to retire. If you're Jermaine Whitehead, you have to just quit football.
Well,
because it was like that bad.
Don't worry, he was cut today.
He was.
Right.
I didn't even know that.
He retired himself when he decided to go in the locker room right after the game and every person on Twitter that questioned him and went across the line big time.
That.
Like, NFL players, stop. Like, go in the locker room and take a shower and unwind and let some steam blow off.
He knew the writing was on the wall after that play because you can't recover from what happened.
What do you just, him and Darryl Roberts of the Jets yesterday had spouting off sessions
on Twitter,
on social media after the game, and just like, stop looking at that crap. Who cares?
Yeah, you got to get off of it.
I mean, who cares? Who cares what my uncle David in New Jersey thinks about how you played? He doesn't know shit. He's a lawyer, okay? My uncle David is a fucking lawyer. He doesn't know shit.
But on Twitter,
and he's missing a tooth.
On
okay,
Twitter, you don't know that.
Let's not worry about what he says to you, Jermaine Whitehead. Who cares?
People are being mean to Freddie Kitchens. You think do you think he comes back next year?
He's in trouble right now.
Yeah,
he is, because they're in a team that's kind of like unlike like Adam Gase or the Jets. Like, they have a lot of things on their roster you like, and some of their losses, they've outplayed the other teams and found ways to lose, and that reflects on the coach. So. I like Freddie Kitchens. I do think he does some good things on the offensive side of the ball, but obviously things are not buttoned up. They mess up certain scenarios on a week-to-week basis. He's messed them up. The quarterback's messed them up. It's been throughout the team, and that's not a good look for him.
Good for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Another win for them, and they've had some close losses this year too.
Do you know who Luca Brasi is?
No.
Gosh, do you know who Luca Brasi is? No. Do you guys not watch Godfather? Yeah. Do you not watch The Godfather? You've never seen that?
Don't memorize the character's names.
What are you freaking idiots?
I'm breaking down
you.
film for the Chris Sims podcast. You've got me
okay, fine. You're
looking
good
at
then.
all this stuff because we go through every game.
Well,
so
Luca
intently.
Brasi sleeps with the fishes, okay? And you know who else does? You know who else sleeps with the fishes? The Jets.
You're right. That's
he
the headline.
Sleeps with the fishes.
From the New York Post. I mean, it's kind of a nod to when their CEO, Christopher Johnson, said before their game last week versus the Jaguars.
Hope we show up.
Hopefully this team will actually show up this week, not be asleep.
Yeah,
they're
still asleep.
That game. They're still asleep, losing to the Miami Dolphins in the Adam Gase return game. So now the Bengals, the only winless team in the NFL because Miami got one. Sam Darnold, 8 interceptions over 3 games. Interception percentage for him is almost doubled what it was last year in his rookie year. Something's wrong there.
Well, this is his issue. This was his issue coming out of college. He led college football in turnovers his last year at USC. I'm not giving up on Sam Darnold. It's not like he's got a ton of help around him. But, the last 2 weeks have not looked good. The last 3 weeks have not looked good. The Patriots, the Jags, or yesterday. And I'm not even into the stats. I'm just saying, like, some of the throws I saw, some of the decisions in general, I just want to go, man, what are we doing? What the hell is that? Or what kind of throw is that? The biggest one being, of course, the down there at the 1-yard line as he's getting sacked and just throwing a ball into a crowd of people when they're going in to score, or at least going to get a field goal, and it leads to an interception. That was a huge moment in the football game. They kind of had momentum. They were dry, of course, down there ready to score points. So that was huge. And then, it's just a disaster. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you I watched this game all the way through.
What?
Yeah, it was the least game I was concerned about. I could care less.
Your buddy Brian Flores got to win.
That's what this was. It was the shit bowl, okay? But I am really happy for Brian Flores. And I didn't think they would quit fighting. That group down there, that coaching staff, they're tough. They're a bunch of New England guys. They're going to get that thing right, and they're going to continue to coach that team.
But we talked about Kitchens being on the hot seat. Now Flores on the hot seat, though. You don't want to win too many games.
Gase on the hot seat?
I'm talking about Flores. You don't want to win too many games.
Oh, gosh, he's not tanking anymore.
Not tanking properly.
Yeah, no, he ain't going to tank. I just know Brian Flores. I've known him for a long time. He is not tanking anything. He comes to the office ready for a figurative and literal fight. And he will fight you on the spot either way. So they're not going to be giving up or tanking as far as the coaches are concerned.
You really think Gase is on the hot seat?
I don't think Gase deserves to be on the hot seat. I thought you were maybe referencing that. No. I think a lot of the issues with the Jets are because of their last GM and McCagnon. So I look at some of those things and go, well, yeah, they're not very good on the offensive and defensive line, not because of Adam Gase, because the players aren't good and they're just haven't been built the right way. And same thing with some of the pieces on defense and things like that.
Yeah.
So the roster wasn't that strong. Do I think Adam Gase could do better? Yeah, I do. I wish he would open up the offense and be a little bit more creative in certain ways. But I don't think it totally falls on Adam Gase there in New York.
So the Jets get beat by the Miami Dolphins, and the Bears lose again in our Factory of Sadness edition of the headlines by the Eagles. 22-14 was the final score. My headline for this one is So Good It Ertz, the return of Zach Ertz, 9 catches, 103 yards, 1 touchdown. Dallas Goedert still second on the team in receiving yards with 39. They missed DeSean Jackson. Seemed like they were going to get him back. Played 4 plays and then aggravated that abdomen injury again.
That stinks.
Although Doug Peterson after the game weirdly optimistic about it.
Said it was like
they're like no big deal.
Precautionary, right?
He'll be good in 2 weeks. It's like with a muscle injury like that, this seems that unpredictable. It seems like they're weirdly optimistic about him being back in a couple of weeks. Oh, hold on. We have breaking news. DeSean Jackson having surgery. Appears unlikely to play again this season, so I didn't know that either. But yeah, it's very odd for him to be that confident. So that was tweeted a minute ago in real time.
By
if you're
Ian
listening to this live,
this
podcast live, which is not live.
That's huge.
Ian Rappaport, yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, how big a blow is that?
Well, I look at that as like, that to me takes them out of almost being a real Super Bowl contender in a lot of ways. I don't think
they needed him that badly.
Well, yeah, they do. They have a lot of ways to throw the ball 5 and 10 yards, and they don't have a lot of ways or guys that can go deep, and they don't have a guy that can take the pressure off that. Now, the one thing that gives me hope is they are running the ball again. The Eagles are starting to show that they can run the ball and overpower you. Yesterday was another good day. I mean, this Bears defense is good.
Yeah.
And they let up 146 yards running to this Eagles offensive line. So that's good. The Eagles, they're going to have to do it a different way. But it is a lot of work sometimes for their pass game to do something because there's nothing to back you off. Alshon Jeffrey's a 4'6" guy, runs 4'7". Zach Ertz isn't going to scare you that way. There's just really not that guy. So that's a little bit concerning that way.
There's one out there, Antonio.
Antonio.
Antonio Brown is out there looking for a team, ready to play.
If they want to deal with that, that's fine with them. He'll certainly help them. We know that. I mean, they need somebody like that. And they do have the kind of locker room and personalities that I think could handle him. But I don't know if they want to open themselves up to the criticism and the crap they got to deal with.
And it's falling apart for the Bears right now. I mean, it's not. They
had 9 yards in the first half. They had minus 2 yards until like the last drive of the first half. Okay, it was shitville. They can't do anything.
They made it closer at the end. I give them credit for coming back. But so I was looking up David Montgomery, the running back for the Bears. Faced an 8-man box 79% of the time, most in the NFL this week. And so they're stacking the box to stop the run because they're not afraid of Mitchell Trubisky.
Nope, they're not.
Why would you be? And so it's really hard for them to do anything offensively.
No, yeah. I mean, they had 2 drives the whole game, and on those 2 drives, they scored touchdowns, which was good for them. Really, the reason this game was close because early on, when the Eagles did dominate the time of possession and the clock, the Bears defense made stops to at least hold them to field goals, and that kept them in the game for a period of time. If those were touchdown drives, they would have been big trouble for the Bears and would have been a big blowout.
Let's wrap it up with 2 final games that we haven't touched so far. The shocker.
Yeah.
That's my headline. Shocker for the Bolts.
Oh.
Chargers. My headline writing's not bad.
No, it's pretty damn good. It's not New York Post material, but it's really good. I mean, if you knew a movie, you'd probably even be better at headlines.
I'm disadvantaged here and still.
You're right. I mean, you don't even know what sleeping with the fishes is. Jeez.
4-5. The Chargers are now. Don't count them out yet. The Packers lose their second game this year, 26-11. It was domination. So the Chargers offense now getting play calls from Shane, what is it, Stecton?
Yeah.
Stecton?
Yes. Listen, not a guy that I know.
He was their quarterback's coach. Ken Wisenhunt fired on last Monday. Melvin Gordon came back, had a good game, 20 carries, 80 yards, 68 of those between the tackles. Austin Eckler still was doing his thing.
Yep.
So Mike Williams was out there running super fast. He was the fastest wide receiver with the ball this week, 20.7 miles an hour. So they got some weapons.
They do.
Defensively, they shut down Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, they did. I mean, they showed dedication to the run game, which I'm sure Anthony Lynn, that's why he made the switch like you talked about. The Packers defense is in trouble. I mean, there's no other way to say it. You know, it's the third, I've been saying this for 3 weeks. Their interior defensive line stinks. There's nothing good to say about it. Middle linebackers, some of the D tackles, they're just not good. They're not going to stop the run. And then it just leaves them vulnerable in the pass game. And, you saw early on, I mean, the Chargers kind of controlled the clock, had the ball. And, yes, it was one of those games where, and I didn't expect this. I didn't think that their defense would shut down the Packers offense like that at any stretch of
even with especially with Devontae
Adams back. And I thought that, really that the Packers would be able to run the ball enough to at least open up other things in their offense. But they were unable to do that. And, usually when things like that happen, the run game's not working for the Packers, Aaron Rodgers will take over. He can take over, but not when the pass protection is not there or there's 2 freaks on the edge who can stop him from dancing around and waiting all day to make, hey, nobody's open. They're doing a good job covering us. Oh, I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'll dance around and move and bob and weave, and I'll throw a laser, and everything will be okay. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, that's where it's tough when it's Ingram and Bosa who had their way with the Packers offensive line, which was shocking to me. Those were really the big things that jumped out to me.
Yeah, Joey Bosa leading the NFL this week with quarterback hits with 4.
Man, they were all over him.
1.5 sacks. Joey Bosa has stepped up ever since you said that Nick Bosa was the better Bosa.
Yes, well, that was last week. So
that was last week.
Way to go to step up for 1 week. They're both awesome. We know that.
They're both very good. And for the Chargers, that was their last game in L.A. until December 15th.
Wow.
So they'll be in Mexico for one quote-unquote home game.
Well, they're used to not having any fans cheering for them, so that's no big deal. Bills, Redskins. We gotta hit that, right?
Yeah, we gotta hit that one.
AP's amazing, first off, just off the bat.
Hold on, I got a headline.
Oh, do you?
Was that your headline? AP's amazing?
Yeah.
See? Not that great. Mine is Bill's sorry, not sorry, because that comes from Micah Hyde saying, I'm done apologizing for wins. Because everyone's saying, the Bills are winning, but they're not playing anyone, which is true. Their opponents have a total of 22 wins, tied for the fewest in the NFL with San Francisco. But for a team like the Bills, they're beating teams they should beat, which is good for them. They started out 2-6 last year. They're 6-2 this year. They get the win over Washington.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing with them is, Josh Allen's dangerous. if they can run the ball and play defense, which the one little thing that scares me about the Bills, and I'll be interested to watch this again, too, just was kind of surprised the Redskins did have success running the ball on them. I did not think that would happen, especially once they knew like Dwayne Haskins was starting and, maybe the passing attack wouldn't hit, on all cylinders from that standpoint. So I'm just a little surprised that the defense has kind of shown 2 weeks in a row of the team kind of pushing them around and opening up some holes.
I looked that up.
Yeah.
So the Bills, their pass defense, third best in the NFL with yards per passing play.
Right.
And then yards per rushing play,
right?
19th.
19th, yeah.
So they're 19th, and so because you just assume like, oh, Bills, that's a good defense.
Yep.
And yards per game is pretty good for them. But
it's still a good defense, but you're right.
The running game.
Yeah, they have. They're not incredibly big up front that way, so that's part of it, certainly. But, I mean, hey, it's still the third-ranked defense in all of football, and saying all that, and just total yards per game. But, yes, it's 2 weeks in a row where teams have, the Redskins and Eagles, who have bigger offensive lines, shown that they can push them around just a little bit. But Buffalo I still like a lot of what I see, and Josh Allen is dangerous, and when he does take care of the ball, watch out. His scrambling and a few throws here and there can be the difference of a football game.
First time in his career, he's gone 3 straight games without an interception.
Way to go, Joshy.
Yeah, it's the Bills' best start since 1993.
Whoa, they went to the Super Bowl that year and lost 30-13 to the Cowboys. Emmitt Smith was the MVP.
But it's about to get a whole lot tougher for them, as next up is at the Browns. Ooh. And then they got to go to Miami, who just won a game.
Ooh.
Wow. Then they take on the Broncos.
Oh, man, so they still have an easy schedule here.
I know, right? It's like, they're not going to play a hard game until...
Then they got at Cowboys, Ravens, at Steelers, at Patriots. So they have a 4-game stretch at the end of November into December where we'll get a feel for how legit they really are as a football team.
I mean,
they can't control the schedule. They're beating the teams that are there. And they've lost to the 2 quality teams, or the 1 really quality team in the Patriots and the 1 good team in the Eagles.
They only lost by 6. It was 16-10.
And the Eagles game was closer than the score, too. So they're not out of it.
That's every one. We got through every one.
Way to go, team. Way to go. Now go watch The Godfather, you jerk, okay?
I have time now.
Okay, yeah, you do? Yeah, great. All right. Monday night, I got the Cowboys, 31-20.
I'll take the Giants.
You'll take the Giants.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. Why would you do that?
Well, because the Cowboys, you don't know. The Cowboys are up and down. Yeah, they lost to the Jets, who are clearly the worst team in football.
Yeah, they're up there. You're right. That's still amazing. I'm betting that the Cowboys will be pissed at the fact that they played like shit the last time they were at MetLife Stadium. Yeah. They'll use it as a rallying cry. Plus, they had the bye week. 31-20. Sorry, Jonald McDonald. Drink another beer. You won't even know. You'll just pretend the Giants are winning, okay?
One thing for sure, though, one thing I can guarantee is we'll get a up-close shot of Jason Garrett.
Oh.
Just like his nose and eyes.
No doubt.
We get really up in his grill.
They usually do.
They get up in his grill a lot.
Right. Watch me now hit this camera right on target. You ready?
All right.
No, it hit. No, it did not. All right, peace. We're done. Chris Sims, Unbuttoned. Appreciate you listening. Wednesday will be the What the Happened podcast with the big We'll get him on here. Ahmed, you the man.
Well done.
Way to go. Way to go with your headlines. Watch some movies, okay? All right, peace out. We're done. I'm out of here. Peace. Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Sims Unbuttoned podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.